Technical issue. We're glad over the years this awards program has evolved to become really probably the nation's premier program of its type. I don't know, we haven't seen anything that comes close to the breadth of recognition, the breadth of community involvement, and the breadth of the awards that this program represents. So it's always exciting. And President Tammy suggested that in spite of the fact that the school districts are reluctant to have the families and children join in this year due to their COVID protocols, that we should go ahead with the program and go ahead and recognize these youth just as we would on a normal basis. So Tammy, we're going to try to do our best. We thank you for the opportunities. And I don't know, how do I pull move these slides?
Are you ready for your slide?
Yes.
You ready, please?
Okay. Where do I point?
Right here. It's not going up. Just
Okay, go to the next one, please. Over the years, and that's many years, these awards have evolved, and they've evolved in a way that was really a part of our true community. It happened because, as Bob Schmierbeck remembers, some 20 or more years ago, a Rotarian decided to go to Starkey and to begin an awards program there, recognizing, and called it the Rotary Youth Citizenship Award. So it began in a very small way, and even to the point in time that just 6 or 7 years ago, the program really only was an award program within the various elementary schools that are part of the KISD school district. Gradually, though, as we began to look at the possibilities, a friend of the awards named Neil Griffin suggested, well, why don't you get all the schools here in the community involved? And so that's when we invited Hunt School and Centerpoint and Notre Dame to join us along with Ingram. And that was really the beginning of what we would call the Kerr County movement that began. Soon thereafter, we began to think of ways that we could do what you see on the board right now. How could we encourage youth citizenship? You know, and what youth citizenship is, it's a process of youth getting active and involved in the community, their local community, their schoolroom, their activities, their extracurricular activities they're involved, to encourage that, but also we wanted to be in a process of, at that time, begin to recognize it. And so we began, Crystal, you were part of the process that helped us to kind of figure out, well, what is it that we're trying to represent? And that's where service above self came from. That it was a very simple way of explaining what is it that we're looking for in these youth. Well, they're the youth that basically are exemplifying service above self in their community. When we began later to educate to it a few years later, we found that service above self was sort of kind of went over the top of the kids' heads and was maybe a little too adultish. And so we came up with a phrase called "we is greater than me," and we'll look at it in a minute, but it helped us to educate the kids that this is really about the golden rule, about looking out for others. We then approached the Daily Times about getting engaged in this. At your point, places on your place settings today, is an example of a publication that'll be in the paper tomorrow. And it's an opportunity to really give community-wide recognition to each of these kids. Gradually, are you on that slide?
I am.
Okay. We've had the opportunity to do all of this, and the group that helps us to take it into the schools, you'll see recognized on the screen. These are the Rotarians who this year had to scramble at the last minute because we weren't certain and didn't recognize that we even had the possibilities of going directly into the schools until mid-March. Mid-May began to approach. So it was a late process. And at that point in time, these are the volunteers that eagerly agreed to get in and help present the awards in the schools. Next slide. So as I was mentioning earlier, this is a broad collaboration. We couldn't do this without the school districts. Their active involvement, their encouragement, their participation, they're making it a priority when they've got a ton of priorities, has been an important part of the process. The Rotary Club's constant recognition and support of this program has been critical. When Shriner joined us, it brought an element to this program that really we almost gasped for. I mean, it was so big to have the opportunity to present college scholarships to these youth. Shriner saw it as an opportunity to begin to recognize kids that could be great students on their campus, and hopefully we could keep more of our local talent here in Kerrville for college. We brought our two of our ministries, Love to Read, to do the educational programs and serve Kerrville involved to help with additional volunteer hours. And so next slide, the collaboration was born. And as you can see in your publication today, it's really a combination of contributions from organizations that come together, not for seeking any one point of name recognition, but for the point of recognizing and rewarding these kids. Next slide, please. So when we have an opportunity to go in the schools, we took the slide from Ingram, where the Ingram principal and our speaker are engaged in the process. But we is greater than me is just a way of talking to kids about weism versus meism. And the fact is that's what Rotary is all about. It's about service above self. It's about putting we before me. And we're glad that we have an opportunity to bring that education program. Next slide, please. There are oftentimes people that come and you start off on something and you think you know where you're at, but sometimes some outsiders get engaged who really make a significant contribution. None of this would probably be in its total today without the inspirations of a man named Neil Griffin. Neil was a true friend of the Youth Citizenship Awards, as he has been to many championing education in this community. He inspired the expansion of the awards, and he truly believed that citizenship skills were vital to the individual's success. And he wanted to try to take that process to a point in time where we really maybe took it to a different level. As a champion of education, he was known for recognizing and wanting to reward youth, but he also believed that if we could reach down into their more formative years, that we might make a significant influence. And so it was Neil that really pushed to and suggested and inspired the expansion of these awards. Today, we're privileged to have his partner in life, his widow, here as we remember him today. Gina, can I ask you to stand up? Gina, thank you for the vision, for the passion, and for the philanthropy that you and Neil have given so selflessly to this community. We can hardly go anywhere without seeing an indication of it in our town, but certainly what we don't see on a visual basis is the impact that you two have had on education here in Kerr County. Thank you for your dedication. And we appreciate the fact that you've empowered to do so much in lifelong learning. You've helped to exemplify service above self. We thank you for giving so unselfishly. Well, how do we choose these kids? Well, as I mentioned earlier, Crystal helped us to evolve and develop a strategy some years ago so that we could be consistent across the community. And and I have to admit that before I forget about it, Linda Finley, could you just raise your hand or stand up? We wouldn't be. Linda's a volunteer who has put hundreds of hours literally into making this year's awards recognition possible. So thank you, Linda. Service above self actually came to be after I joined Rotary. In other words, it evolved in our modern lifetimes. It's not something ancient, but it began to be the motto that Rotary Club after Rotary Club began to adopt until it became the mean when we start getting engaged with kids. And so what we began to look at was the fact that in trying to break it down and to trying to help teachers and principals and even parents and children to understand what it was that we were expecting or evaluating, we looked at the 6 pillars that are actually part of Character Counts, which is a national program about character development. And so caring and fairness, responsibility, respect, trustworthiness, all became important qualities that helped us in beginning to recognize the achievements in these kids. And then it all hopefully begins to emerge in their active involvement in citizenship. And that's why we gather today to do that. Now, as we gather, we're fortunate that Crystal Dockery, who's not only been a part of the formative stages in the growth of these awards, but who led the Hunt School District would you move the next slide? And to a very successfully for years, and then had an opportunity to move into trying to provide leadership and inspiration to schools across the state through the Texas Association of Community Schools. Crystal is driven over from Austin to join us today out of the love for kids, the love for this club and for each of you, and for her desire to basically use her natural God-given gifts to help make these kids come alive for us today. Crystal, thank you for joining us.
I'm always glad to come to this. That all the kids aren't here, because that really is kind of my thing. I will say I've spent the last 5 months in session, and Kelly can appreciate this. We is greater than me is not the motto in the Capitol. I will say it's a different world. What I want to say, they do have so many things that they want to continue to accomplish. And I've always said that most of us, if you're a parent, aren't as worried about our child's GPA as we are about who they become. If they're kind, if they're encouraging and if they help others and high school. And so what we have here, based on the characteristics that Jeff just talked about, is not only kids who do well Michelle and Joseph. He is involved in the character council that is nominated and elected by teachers. He loves playing football and he played the viola in the school orchestra. He wants to join the military and then later become a neurosurgeon. He is reliable, trustworthy, and leads by example according to his teachers. Addison's the daughter of Amy and Travis, and she loves to show Angora goats at 4-H. That's one of her favorite things to do. She hopes someday to have a family that she gets to take her children to learn more about 4-H. She tends to have a let's do this together kind of attitude, and she hopes to become a teacher. So all of those characteristics will serve her well in that field. Next, we have Starkey, and at Starkey, we have Matthew and Genesis. Matthew is the son of Rebecca and Corey. He loves to go to state parks and loves to camp and hopes someday to become a park ranger. He loves to save animals that are in the wild, that are injured or maybe in need of assistance or rehab in some way. He also loves to swim, hike, fish, draw, paint, basketball, and play baseball. So he's well-rounded there. He's a bright and caring student who also plays in the orchestra. Genesis is the daughter of Teresa and Gabriel. And Genesis loves anything that deals with beauty and cosmetology. So she hopes someday to be a cosmetologist and help beautify the lives of others. So Genesis is a quiet, caring leader here at Starkey. At Tally, we have Noah and Alessandra. Noah is the son of Melody and Gabriel. He is an outdoorsman and he loves playing sports, doing anything involved with mechanics, and loves carpentry. He is very inspired by his favorite all-time athlete, Michael Jordan. Who can't be inspired by some Michael Jordan? And he hopes someday to become a veterinarian. Alessandra is the daughter of Christina and Jose. She loves drawing, crafting, playing soccer, and Roblox, which I'm not familiar with, so I'm totally Googling that at some point. She wants to become a registered nurse, and her characteristics that they said really led her to be nominated here were leadership, positivity, and her caring attitude that shines through in all that she does. Finally, at Tom Daniels, we have Seth and Madeline. Seth Ambrose Spencer is the son of Maria and Ramon. He loves reading and drawing, and he loves to exercise every day by running and doing push-ups. He wants to go to college and study computer science and hopes someday to work for a big tech company. He is kind, intelligent, and mature, according to his teachers. And then finally, Madeline. Madeline is the daughter of Kayla and Caleb. She also served as the student council president for her school, where she promoted leadership and unity this year. Outside of class, she also participates in cheerleading, and she loves to paint abstract paintings. She plans on attending college, where she'll either become a 4th grade math teacher or a doctor. And I will have to say, those things actually are a lot like, people laugh, but teachers work on brains every single day. I'm just pointing that out. Madeline's intelligent, creative, and a natural teacher. So all of these students were nominated because they have "we is greater than me" as an ambition. They're kind, they are trustworthy, they honor friendships and honor each other, and certainly exemplify everything that we hope to see in the children of our future. So let's give these kids a great big hand.
Aren't you glad that Crystal came to join us today and bring her vibrant personality? Thank you, Crystal. Thanks for bringing these children's lives alive so that we can appreciate it in greater depth and understanding. Well, an important part of what we do is Shriner University. How does Shriner interconnect with the elementary school? Well, we have a guest, next guest can help us relate to that. It's Toby Appleton, but he's here representing Shriner University today. Toby?
Not quite as vibrant as Crystal is. A warm cat. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you all for inviting me to speak today. Shriner's delighted to be a part of this award ceremony today, and in the past years, And I want to thank all of our partners that get together to pull this off every year. Shriners are proud to recognize the exemplary characteristics of these 16 local elementary school students this year here in Kerr County who demonstrated good citizenship at school, at home, and in the community. And they're honest, hardworking young men and women who are helpful and fair, and they're exactly the type of students that we're looking for at Shrine University. We're proud to reward those students and show them that being a good kid, being a good friend, being a good neighbor, that counts. This year we awarded 16 scholarships of $20,000 each, totaling $320,000 to show just how much we think that counts. We prepare students for meaningful work. So we know that they'll have a professional career that they're happy with. But we want them to thrive in that career. We also want to prepare students for purposeful lives. So we know that they're going to be more than just a worker, and we want them to develop that aspect of it as well. That's the fundamental reason why we think this award is important and identifies each one of them as such a good fit for Shriner University. Additionally, even if these students decide a different path and decide not to come to Shriner University, our counseling office is available to each one of them right now to better help them prepare for them and their families to navigate the college decisions and those uncharted waters of their future. Jeff spoke earlier on service above self, encouraging youth citizenship, educating service above self life skills, recognizing youth leadership, rewarding youth for their future and honoring teachers, schools, and parents, and preparing youth for lifelong learning. Shrine University is the place of opportunity for these types of students, where they can receive personalized, integrated, and holistic educational experiences that prepares them for meaningful work and purposeful lives in a changing global society. Students who acquire broad skills and habits of mind to navigate a complex and diverse, unscripted future. Shrine University views all students as valuable and unique. We believe that every student should grow intellectually, physically, spiritually, and socially. We value diversity of people and thought and setting of an open and civil discourse, and that lifelong learning and service to society are critical in a global world. And finally, higher education must develop thoughtful and productive and ethical citizens. There are a multitude of different colleges and universities out there for students to choose from. They apply, they do campus visits, they meet with advisors and sometimes professors, all trying to find the right fit for them. At Shriner, we feel there's also a right student for the university. At Shriner, that right fit are the men and women who aim to provide service and leadership in the Hill Country, in Texas, the nation, and the world. The right fit are enthusiastic and diverse men and women, and we will forge them into intellectual, emotional, and personal resilience that has made Shriner Institute, Shriner College, and Shriner University the uniquely Texan education institution it has been, is, and will be. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tony. Kathleen, can I ask you to come forward? We've now scholarships, Shriner scholarships have now been given to 78 local youth for this program. That's almost $1,600,000 for future value. When we look at the families, it's likely that 2 out of 3 may not have chosen route to college. The opportunity to be involved in helping to steer, direct, encourage, and promote college, all of these kids, is an unparalleled opportunity. They're special children. Thank you so much for joining us and doing this. And if I could just close, Kathleen's going to close this in prayer. But we want to pray because this is a special group. It's an unusual group. We want to pray for the parents who, in spite of whatever circumstances they've had in life, have endowed and promoted and encouraged their kids to exemplify these behaviors. We want to pray for the teachers who, in spite of or the administrative responsibilities that you find a way to inculcate character into their classroom and to instill it and to be examples of it. We want to be prayerful for the principals that find a way to make this possible in your schools, and for the administrators we have here in Kerr County, and really for the open community we have to have what I would call a God-blessed world here in Kerr County. Kathleen, thank you, parents and teachers and administrators. Kathleen, you close.
Before I close, I just want to say, sometimes we don't see the bigger picture of things, and my son, who is now a commander in the Navy and stationed at Fort Bragg, the Joint Special Operations Command, received this Rotary Award years ago, and his wife received it, and now they are serving our nation, and my daughter was a recipient of the Griffin Scholarship. So our family has truly been blessed. And to those children that are listening and their parents, investing in your kids is so important. And so I just want to bless you for doing just a good job to invest in your kids. Let's pray. Father, I just thank you for this opportunity and your many, many blessings, God, that you pour out upon us. And I pray for these young people, Lord, that in every obstacle they face, they would see the possibilities. And Lord, in every obstacle they face as they grow up and make decisions, Lord, that they would turn to you for wisdom and lean on you. And Father, I just pray that they would look to you for guidance. Give their parents wisdom. Bless their family unity. Father, help their parents as they direct them and encourage them and cheer them on and pick them up. And Lord, for the teachers that give sacrificially day in and day out, Lord, bless their families. And thank you for Rotary. Thank you for the opportunity that we have, Lord, to live where we live. And I ask that you bless Reiner University and the Griffins for what they give to this community. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you very much. We really, really appreciate it. He gave you a little bit of information about how this came to be this way. One of our options, because we were seeing a spike in cases and then all of a sudden we could meet and be together, we almost didn't do it. And we just didn't want the kids to have that stripped from them. Last year we had to do it in the fall and we had to do it virtually, and that worked out well. So I asked, do you think you could get it done this way via PowerPoint? So that required every person that you saw in those pictures taking out of their day to go make those presentations on the site. And I just wanted to tell you all thank you. We were able to not let kids get taken one more thing from them. So thank you so much for that, and thank you for everything. And Kristen, this is how many years have you left? And she has continued to do this with us every year, and I hope you will continue, because I just miss you. So great. Okay, so we have some club business to do. First, families in Rotary. I am usually converse with Stephanie Miller online for texting, so I find out she has a report. She said she's online but doesn't have a report. But the one thing that I do want to make mention of is to congratulate E.A. Hoppy, who was formally named and installed as the new city manager, replacing Mark McDaniel. Congratulations.
Also, I would like to invite Marty Dickman to introduce our guest. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Tammy. So we have some guests today, and I am delighted to introduce actually friends and colleagues, Toby Appleton and Dean Green here from Rotary University. And you have a guest. And Barbara is mine. Bob Fairchild has guests with us today. I believe it was in this.
So we have another song. We want to have another song. Don't we, George?
Yeah. Well, we also have to do that, I'll introduce, this is Ed Hamilton here. Someone.
Welcome back, Ed. It's so good to see you. One of the things that we haven't been able to do is celebrate birthdays because we haven't been able to get together. So we decided we're going to start that again now.
And the pressure's on Gerald.
We need to get out.
Yeah, right there.
The other thing that we tried to do is include people who couldn't be here. So we've done our best on this IT stuff. It's gone well sometimes it hasn't. Just know we're trying hard to include everyone. No, we keep on right there. Okay, so we're gonna move along. And now we'll come back to this one. We have a Paul Harris Fellowship to award Carol Holmes. You have a Paul Harris +8, and we've been waiting to give you your pin, so we're so excited you're here today.
I had to wait for her to get back to Port Barton.
Now, in case you didn't hear, that was Paul Harris +8, so thank you very much, Carol. And we have two special things to do. I would like to invite Christy and Shepherd and EA Happy to the stage. These are our two newest members that will be inducted today. They attended the orientation and are ready to have their red badges and begin the process of becoming our blue badge member. So, okay, I'm going to read in here, but I'll talk to each of you with a statement. Okay, so at this time, I would like to call you forward, which I've done. So Christy and EA, on behalf of the board and membership of the Rotary Club of Kerrville, it is my great pleasure to welcome you as the newest members of our club. We look forward to getting to know you at meetings and through service and many club projects. Rotary is an organization of business and professional people pledged to uphold the highest ethical and moral standards. Rotarians believe that worldwide friendship and peace can be achieved when people unite with the Rotary motto of service above self. Christy and EA, you have been chosen for membership in the Rotary Club of Kerrville because your fellow members should be a leader in our community because you possess the qualities to champion the message and principles of Rotary. You now become an ambassador of Rotary and want you to talk about the good things we are doing in our community and throughout the world. Okay, that part doesn't apply. So, usually we would have sponsors come up and introduce them, and that's not going to happen. But we do have things that we want to give each of you. So the plaque before you do this, you'll get your red badge. And red badge.
Hello, I'm very excited about this. I'm excited. I'm fairly new here. We moved in November, and I'm excited to get involved in the community. I really appreciate everyone here is so friendly and nice, and I'm looking forward to
working with you and making a difference. Anybody else want to say a few words?
Thank you so much for the opportunity to join your club. I'm looking forward to the great opportunity for me to not only serve the club, but continue to serve the community. Very excited. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You'll look through your package, you'll see there's a card, you need to visit Six Rotary, you can sign off, and we've done that, and we attend a board meeting, which will be happening next week, by the way, via Zoom. You can get your blue badge, so let's see which one you can get your blue badge first. Okay, now we would,
I'm sorry, George.
We're gonna do our birthday song now.
Yeah, several of these people here. Scott Bolton, January 1st. Kenneth Early on the 3rd. Nobody was born on the 2nd. Kenneth Lee? June. Sorry, June, sorry about that. I didn't say you in, okay. Scott Bolton on the 1st, Kenneth Early on the 3rd, Ron Riley on the 5th, John Grimes on the 5th, Bob Fairchild. You gotta stand up, okay, as I read your name, because we're gonna sing happy birthday to you. Stephanie Screvita, John Forrester, how about that? John born on the 15th, and Ed Hamilton's on the 15th. You guys are birthday buddies sitting here, how about that? Quincy Smith on the 15th, man, I've seen her for a long time. And David Reach, who's not here, so we'll sing happy birthday, June birthdays. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to birthday, happy birthday to you. And many more.
Great. Thank you so much, George. It's so much fun to get back to some of the things that we were doing before COVID. Some announcements, please look in your mailboxes. You will have received or be receiving your June invoice, but we want to make sure that you got your March one paid and you received it. So if you haven't received it, please let us know. If you haven't paid it, please get it paid. We also would like to remind you that there is the last event for this Rotary year is our blood drive. That's June 24th. It'll be at Cornwall Motors from 10 to 3. I've sent in your weekly email a link to sign up. We need 30 people, and it would really mean a lot to me if we can get that filled up. We filled up every single one, so I'd like to finish strong on that. I'd love some posters on the tables that maybe you could put in your businesses to let the general public know that we're having that event. There's a QR code they can click on and be able to go straight to registration. So if you would take some with you, that would be great. I have some more up here if you would like to take one and know what's going on your table. On June 22nd, Christy, would you like to say something about this instead of me just? Our own Christy Vandenberg is going to be installed as the district governor of our District 5840. It's a big deal, and she wanted to make it a big party for the entire club. Everyone can come, there's no cost, and it's not very often that you get to witness an installation in your own district. So Christy, it's all you.
So it's a party, y'all. Come. It's going to be casual. Bring your +1 with you. Everything is free except it is a cash bar, but here's the news. Here is $3. Wine is $5. You know, it's not going to be expensive. It's in the party hall, kind of behind rails, and there will be a lot of people from other clubs and leaders in our district as well there. So you get a chance to meet some of the other folks that are rocking and rolling all around San Antonio. We have 54 clubs in this district. And as district governor, I get to visit all of them. I will be driving a lot this next year, but please come out. Please come out and join me, party with me. Thanks.
Well, Christy, we're so excited for you, and we know you're going to do a great job. You do a great job for us here, so the district's going to be lucky to have you. I need to give away some wine. So if you are wearing your Rotary pin, you are the proud owner of a bottle of red wine. So Dave Samuel, are you wearing your pin?
Yay! It's been donated to Chris. And Christy, I think we said June 22nd, but it's at Rails Cafe at the end. I don't think that I said that, so it's from that begins at 6. Okay, if you guys will join me in a 4-way test. Other things that we say.